Safe Harbor is an umbrella organization. We have children's residences under our umbrella, drop-in centers, family preservation, child advocacy centers, and rape crisis centers. We pretty much provide services to coastal Georgia for children and families. We actually are going to be starting a maternity group home.
Okay.
So we're super excited. We were the only program in Georgia to be selected. There were 25 awards across the whole country, so not every state received that funding, but we did. In our community, we see a huge need for teen pregnancy. We have, unfortunately, huge statistics on young girls making it past high school, but then becoming pregnant at 19 and then having a second child by age 21. So it's a big issue for coastal Georgia.
Welcome back to another episode of the Southern Executive Experience. Today we've got Leslie Hartman, the Executive Director of Safe Harbor here in Brunswick, Georgia. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, let me just start off by introducing yourself and kind of telling everybody what you do.
I'm Leslie Hartman. I'm the Executive Director of Safe Harbor Center in Brunswick, Georgia, and I have been the Executive Director now for 16 years. And Safe Harbor is an umbrella organization. We have children's residences under our umbrella, drop-in centers, family preservation, child advocacy centers, and rape crisis centers.
Do a little bit of everything for the community, and y'all do more than just right here in Glenn County. Y'all spread out in a few of the other counties. I know y'all stretch over into Wayne and some of the other surrounding counties around this area.
We do. We pretty much provide services to coastal Georgia for children and families.
Awesome. Well, like you said, you've been there for 16 years, you said now?
Yes.
And you've been, I saw you were the executive director in 2010, is that right? Or is that when you started with?
That's when I started.
That's when you started with them. And you worked for Safe Harbor before you took over the executive director position?
I did. I had residential treatment experience. I'm a licensed professional counselor, so I'm a therapist in Georgia, and I had worked in a residential program for adolescents in North Georgia and loved residential, and then moved down here, got married, and worked for Gateway in their child and adolescent program. And so some of my children that I was case managing actually stayed at Safe Harbor.
Oh, nice.
So I got to know the organization because I had children on my caseload that stayed there. So
Gotcha.
It was neat.
So social services like DFACS that you're talking about you worked with, or is it?
It was Gateway.
Gateway, that's right. So it's similar. Similar.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they had a great program in the schools. So you were like a mental health counselor. You're like a school counselor, but you were in the schools.
Gotcha.
So it was a really neat program. And then they kind of ended that and brought everyone back to just normal outpatient therapy at Gateway. But it was fun.
That kind of brings me to a question I was going to ask a little later on. And what is different from Safe Harbor than some of the other organizations like Gateway and maybe like Coastal Area Community Action Authority and things like that in this area?
So Safe Harbor is it's all children, basically birth to 24 years old. And we serve kind of children in different needs. Sometimes they might come in crisis. So there might be allegations of abuse. So that would be our child advocacy center. Sometimes they're being placed with us with residential needs, like they're literally being placed by DFACS. So we have a home where they can live with us for as long as they need to. And then sometimes it's homelessness. So what started Safe Harbor 35 years ago was a need for runaway homeless children in our community. There was not any place for them. So every state across the nation has an actual youth home for runaway and homeless youth. So we are part of that. So that's what started us over 35 years ago. And then we've just continued that mission and have different programs now.
Just growing from there.
Yes.
Awesome. Now you, since you're coming on about 16 years, y'all have opened a lot of different programs. And I was kind of looking at a few of them, and I know you said you had some foster living. So what are some of the other programs that y'all started?
Sure. So we were super excited. We were the Runaway Homeless Center 35 years ago. So any children that were running away or homeless were able to stay with us in a voluntary program. So it's very short term, up to 21 days. And it's to help meet their basic needs, food, hygiene, anything they need, medical care, and then we're able to refer them on to if that's defects or if there's a family, maybe there's a caregiver in another town or another community. We kind of help find them and ask them to help.
Get into a foster care
Yes,
situation.
into sometimes foster care, but sometimes there might be a family member. It's all different situations. We've had, like, for example, we had not too long ago, since our community doesn't have a homeless shelter for families,
Right.
we've had parents. We have a mom who's living in her car right now. She has a 1-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and she is afraid she's going to be arrested. So she would agree to voluntarily place her children at Safe Harbor, and she can either go into the Salvation Army or she can find her own housing.
And allows her a way to keep her kids while she's trying to figure things out.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
That's pretty awesome. Right
Yes.
there.
And then we've had families. We had this amazing family from Colorado. They were here around Thanksgiving. The mother she was disabled, and he used to care for her. And in Colorado, he was being paid as a caregiver. But they lost their housing and they were homeless. And so literally all the way down, they had a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. And all the way down to the East Coast, they ended up staying in family shelters. And then for whatever reason, they were in Brunswick and there wasn't a family shelter. So the mother, unfortunately, her medical needs, she had to go into a nursing home.
Oh, man.
And so the father was then homeless with his 15 and 16-year-olds. So he called us, came in, they stayed with us, and through their community in Colorado, they found a youth group that reached out, and their church actually got in touch. The dad agreed that his children could go live back with the family at their church, and so they paid for the family, the 15 and 16-year-old, to go back to Colorado.
And the father stayed here to keep going?
He stayed to meet some of the medical needs, and then he eventually went back himself.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you just never know. Like, homelessness is something that a family can find themselves in when they had everything together, and then something happens that they weren't expecting.
That was kind of brings me what I was thinking about. That line's a lot thinner than people think. You see people and you think that there's so many things that led to it, and just so many people these days living paycheck to paycheck. It could be anything at all, and you could put you in that situation.
Definitely.
What do you see as far as the biggest thing somebody can do if they find themselves kind of in that situation? I mean, as far as what do you recommend people doing?
I mean, definitely reach out. Reach out. Sometimes in those crisis situations, there might be resources could pay the utility bills or could pay. So definitely reaching out to churches, church communities, to other community resources in Glenn County if possible. But
ask for help.
Ask for help, definitely.
That's right.
And then that's I think what the best thing. And then that's just our Zach's Place emergency shelter. Through our homeless services, we also have street outreach, which is it's a canvassing program where we work with homeless youth. Homeless youth in our country is much different than adult homelessness. Homeless youth, you're not going to see them asking for money on the street.
Right.
They don't want to be found. So they're sleeping at the pier in our community. Sometimes they're very creative. It's a word of mouth. Sometimes they're sleeping on different floors of the hospital in the waiting rooms.
Really?
Or they're in the dorm sneaking into common spaces. Or they're doubled up with other friends or other family. So we just kind of canvas and work and try to build a trusting relationship.
In your opinion, do we have a large population of homeless youth in Glenn County?
In Glenn County, we'll see. A couple years ago, we did coastal Georgia, and there were 318.
Wow.
So that's the last time we counted. It's been about 5 years ago.
Is Savannah included in that, or is
yes.
that okay? That would be Savannah too.
Savannah was included in that, and
okay.
Savannah, interesting enough, has they actually have a gypsy population, especially coming through for St. Patrick's Day. So they see an increase right around St. Patrick's Day of gypsies, which we would call gypsies, but they're really homeless youth that are coming in for the festivals.
Okay.
And, yes.
That's neat. That number you would think, honestly, with Savannah, just off the top of my head, I thought that'd be maybe a little higher with Savannah in the mix with it. But I had another guest on not too long ago from the Coastal Area Community Action Authority, and they talked a lot about what we just talked about how that the line between homelessness and is very a lot thinner than we think, and it doesn't take very much for people can find themselves homeless, living in their car, and it's doesn't always have all the same stigmas as you might think. Not as many bad decisions. It's just life. Life happens.
Life, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And we had a youth runaway too from Atlanta. They came back to coastal Georgia to be the beach, and then there was a hurricane. A tropical storm was coming through, and so they literally reached out to us because they were scared.
Right.
So you just have children can make really impulsive decisions and not always think things through either.
Absolutely. Well, let's switch it just a little bit more on your leadership role there at Safe Harbor. And what would you say your biggest challenge is as the executive director?
I think hiring, like everyone, I think we're a little bit different because you have to pass 5 background checks.
Oh, wow.
So it is great because we work with children as far as protecting children, but at the same time, it can be difficult hiring staff. I think we do a great job of retaining our staff. I mean, we've had staff. Our average age is actually like 46 for our employees. We have 105 staff that work at Safe Harbor in our multiple programs in multiple counties. And we do a great job of retaining them. Everyone's on board for our mission, which is helpful. But I do think sometimes hiring and then just keeping the mission going and
everybody on task.
Everybody on task.
There you go. Well, how about a little bit about some of your fundraising opportunities, like your one coming up?
Yes, for handbag bingo.
There you go, handbag bingo.
Yes, we're super, super excited. Amanda Johnson came up with the idea of having Lindsay Thomas, and she is the founder and designer of Garland bags, which they are purses that are made in Savannah, Georgia. She is super creative and cute. She has a great personality, very young, very exciting. And so she's going to come and be our guest speaker February 2nd. So our tickets are we only have like 10 more tickets and we'll be sold out. But we've had a great response. We've sold out the last 4 years. This is our 5th year. And it's going to be at Frederica Township. And it's a fun afternoon. We play bingo. It is Joe Willie from the radio is our bingo.
A lot of fun.
Yep. So the ladies play bingo. We have silent auction with purses that are donated to Safe Harbor. And then this year we're super excited. Lindsay names her purses and kind of has a story behind the name. So the purses, this year, the VIP ticket, you actually were able to purchase a purse. You're going to leave with a purse. And they retail for $295, and our VIP ticket this year was $250. So Lindsay was really generous, and she's actually donated her specialty purses or scarves. You can actually send her a scarf, and she will make a purse out of the scarf. If you don't want to use it anymore, you don't like it, or you don't wear it, she can make a purse out of it, or she actually has purses that she designs as well. She loves fabrics. And it's super, super creative.
Well, this is the guy in me, but are scarves still a thing? People wear a lot of scarves these days? I don't know.
I don't feel like I don't think in coastal Georgia you don't see it as often, but yes, definitely in other communities.
People do wear scarves. Oh, good. Yeah. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, anything at all as far as what do y'all need at Safe Harbor? If somebody in the community want to know how they could help y'all, what would be the thing they need to do?
We always need things like hygiene products, snacks in our child advocacy centers. Children sometimes have to wait to be interviewed. So it's snacks, juice boxes, Capri Suns, that kind of thing. We also need volunteers. And sometimes we need hygiene kits, which is, soap, shampoo. The kids love to have choices of what they like, shampoos and body lotion was a big thing. Anything from Bath & Body Works was a big item this Christmas. We were surprised. The boys were asking for Bath & Body Works this Christmas.
Wow.
So I guess they have some really great new fragrances or something, but that was a funny
I've learned to go to Bath & Body Works the day after Christmas and buy things.
Yes.
It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
Definitely.
So, being that I have a lot of women in my family, that's a little trick that I've used. So.
Yes.
Well, Anything else as far as anything plans for the future? Anything that you'd like to mention or any?
We are super excited. We're going to have, we were one program, the only program in Georgia that this year with our runaway and homeless funding, it is federal funding. We actually are going to be starting a maternity group home.
Okay.
So we're super excited. We were the only program in Georgia to be selected. There were 25 awards across the whole country, so not every state received that funding, but we did. So we're super excited. We have rented an apartment, and we're able to now serve mothers that are pregnant and their children. So
Awesome.
that for us is great. Again, trying to keep the family together, trying to keep children, on the right path and helping them. Again, ages would be 17 to 22. They can actually now live with us. So we're super excited. That's a neat kind of area that we have wanted to grow in. So it was on our strategic plan. The board was super excited. And then to be the only program in Georgia was huge.
Yeah.
So we had a big call with Charleston, South Carolina, and Myrtle Beach and Alabama and all of their providers, and got to hear some great stories and some ideas. So it was neat. The funder lets you design your program. And so it's kind of neat for us to sit down and think. In our community, we see a huge need for teen pregnancy. We have, unfortunately, huge statistics on young girls making it past high school, but then becoming pregnant at 19 and then having a second child by age 21. So it's a big issue for coastal Georgia.
And y'all's goal is to keep the family together,
Yes.
not adoption, or y'all
Yes.
keep the family together.
Keeping the mom together, keeping the mom and her young children with her as she goes through pregnancy.
That seems like it seems like an awesome program.
Yes.
Now, will it be mainly for people in coastal Georgia? But since you're the only one in the state, would it be?
It could, yes.
Okay.
We could get referrals from Atlanta, but yes, since we're the only one, and yeah.
Okay.
But it's exciting. It's exciting for us. We compete with Atlanta programs. We compete with much larger nonprofits, and it's really cool when someone sees you, across the whole country and picks your program. It's exciting.
That is exciting. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on today. See, I told you it'd be quick and
It was
easy.
easy, Jamie. Thank you. We appreciate everything you do for us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to help in any way I can. And like I said, thank you for coming on. And thank everybody for tuning in. And we'll see you next time on the Southern Executive Experience.